Now it's time for our review of Blur.
Blur.
Blur. Is a weird hybrid of Mario Kart, Wipeout and Burnout, but before we get too much further into the review, we've had tons of people of late ask us on the forums, Facebook and Twitter about our rating system.
Well, 4 people did.
Tons, so we thought we'd try and shed some light on just how we do things. Hex, reveal it. Yeah.
One way to score a game is to break it down into categories. I mean, it's not an exact science, but it helps us to form an overall of the game. So, Badge, why don't we start with the graphics and general presentation?
Alright, whiteboard marking me, Hex.
Nope. Sorry. Blur is brought to us by Bizarre Creations, the dev team behind Project Gotham Racing, and of course, Geometry Wars. You can even see a bit of the Geometry Wars DNA in the presentation with all those dazzling lighting effects that flash in your face constantly.
Yeah, how many trophy and achievement things do we need? They just keep sliding in and flashing at your face throughout the start of the game especially, and it's quite distracting.
Well, it's a good-looking racer anyhow, even if some of the tracks are lacking in inspiration a bit. Some of the static lighting effects, like the car's front and rear lights, were a little overdone too, but all the power-up effects were quite spectacular.
So the presentation is good, the cars and the visuals are all very polished, so I think I'm going to give it 8.5. I see we're in agreement.
Well, for now, Blur is all about that combative racing, you know, zipping around and picking up power-ups to give you different abilities. A shunt is your red shell that'll home in on a target ahead of you. Shock will throw down EMP lasers at the front of the race to let you catch up. A shield will protect you for a limited time. Repair kits repair your car, obviously. And then there's missiles and an AoE slam.
Some of these can be shot backwards and some counter others, so it can be quite exciting trying to scramble to get something which can counter that giant fireball of death coming towards you in your rearview mirror. There weren't that many power-ups, but I think there were enough and they got the balance just right.
I did find that the reset when you spin out was a bit too punishing though.
Yeah, that sets you way back.
But the game does auto-correct your vehicle after a jump or if you take a hit, which is great to get you back on track. It's a subtle feature, but definitely a welcome one. You can store up to 3 power-ups at a time, and hanging on to the right one will be essential to snatching a win. Even your first race on normal difficulty requires on-the-fly planning, not just racing skill. A shield is paramount if you're in first place, and if you're in a vehicle that doesn't have much durability. You know, I liked the strategy here, Barjo, even if it is all familiar stuff.
As you progress through the single-player campaign, you'll be asked to complete a bunch of requirements per race series, and if you do this, you'll have a one-on-one race with a chance to win someone's car and also a mod, and these mods improve the power-up effects too. But single player is really unforgiving and tedious, and I found that towards the end of the campaign I was just going back and repeating races to get enough lights to progress through, but the game wasn't quite fun enough for me to do that.
Yeah, the AI spams abilities like there's a monkey behind the wheel, so online is really the only way to play this game, I reckon, and we actually found the online community to be quite nice for a change. Oh, and there's 4-player split screen.
That was a nice surprise. Developer Bizarre Creations really got online right. It's truly a unique experience, and it does something that every multiplayer game should do. Region locking. You can set it by your own country, or just prefer in your own country, or anywhere, whatever.
20 cars battling it out with crazy power-ups was a hectic sight. And with the smaller matches we played, we had no issue playing with people from the other side of the planet, but those matches where we had like 20 or more people were a bit dodgy, so it's probably best to stick to your own region for those ones.
There's plenty of ranks to work your way up in, and legendary stuff too, kind of like prestige mode on COD, but actually rewarding. A rank 3 can take on a rank 45 and win if you play your cards right. And as you gain wins or fans, better cars and more mod profiles will become available to you. Also, there's fun destruction derby modes and team battles, and later on hardcore racing, which has no power-ups at all.
Another thing Blur gets very right is how you share your progress in pictures. Now, I hate getting spammed with people's updates online about how they're progressing in a game, but the system they've integrated here is actually pretty great. You can take a photo at any time during the single player, or select an achievement or unlock, and with a few controller clicks spread it through Facebook, Twitter or MSN.
I hate achievement spam too, Hex, especially when they say things like, I can't get enough of these stickers, which Blur does, and I could get enough of these stickers. I never said that. But I wish this system was in other games because they've got it really, really slick here. I'd love to be in an RPG and show off my fat loots or something like that. So, what do you think, Hex? Online is pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
What's left? Sound design!
Oh, yeah. There's some of the sound effects of racing over dusty roads were a cheese grater to my ears, Barjo.
Yeah, and the music's not really much to speak of, and it left me feeling a bit cold, so...
Oh, you gave us... Oh, no.
Oh, no, I didn't. So I think it's time to tally the votes. Let's math. So, the scores we've derived after all that actually don't represent how we feel about the game, because there is an X factor, a gut feeling that you need to take into account.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's how you felt about the whole experience from when you picked up the controller to when you put it down, whilst taking into account all the parts that worked and the parts that didn't, where it sits within the genre and the franchise if it has one, whilst also subjectively based against all the games that we've personally played ever.
So when you hear us give a conclusion and then a final score, that score isn't based on those last few words. It's based on analysis and feelings.
Oh, and out of rubber chickens.
Out of rubber chickens. So having said that, I'm giving Blur 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Well, I'm giving it 7.